It's a shame that today's transportation industry is so inefficient. You put gasoline in a vehicle, you burn it, and you only get about 25% of the energy out of that gasoline. The rest is just up in smoke, literally. We started with horse and buggy four-wheel technology over 100 years ago. And now we've evolved that four-wheel technology into big SUVs and sedans. The automotive landscape of today is far too concerned with risk and would never think about stepping, outside of the box to make a composite vehicle that's super lightweight and aerodynamic, because it's so much different than what's available on the market today.
When we first started the company and we're looking at the shape and going through MATLAB calculations of different vehicles and saying, well, what kind of vehicle could we use as a base vehicle? And we sort of asked ourselves a rhetorical question. What would it be like if you made the drag go to zero in terms of the equation? Why, then your range would go way, way up.
We see losses in heat, we see losses in friction, we see losses in aerodynamics and weight. Everything to us is an engineering challenge to make things more aerodynamic, lightweight, so they use less energy.
So then I asked the next question. I said, well, what does that shape look like? Surely there must be a shape that mathematically would equal zero for drag, or close to it, close enough. And that's how we discovered this shape and began working with it and refining it.
We think that energy should be used to turn your wheels. That starts with aerodynamics, because in a typical vehicle you use over 60% of your fuel just pushing the air out of the way at highway speeds. So if you could take that aerodynamic drag down to zero, you'd instantly get 60% better fuel economy. With Aptera, we did just that. More aerodynamics, lighter weight, efficient powertrain, gets you further with less energy.
A 1,000-mile range vehicle seemed absolutely absurd. It was an insane claim, but it's all science. It's all numbers, really.
You can charge the Aptera with a regular 110-volt outlet, the same outlet that you charge your cell phone on, and overnight you can get 150 miles of range. That's unlike any other vehicle out there. One of our best new design features is our Never Charge solar package. It allows you to charge over 40 miles a day free from the sun, and allows for most daily driving needs to never have to plug in to go anywhere.
40 miles doesn't sound like a lot, but it's the equivalent of parking your car and having it magically fill up with 2 gallons of gas overnight. It's the fact that you can park it at work or wherever and go back to it with more energy in the tank than when you left it. Freedom in the sense of being able to go long distances, go without having to think about it, go without having to worry about if it's charged or not, have it charge itself without having to pay a dime to drive it every day. I mean, that's a kind of freedom I think a lot of people love.
You don't need super large charging infrastructure to keep your Aptera going on a large trip. When you stop at a roadside charger, you can charge for 10 minutes and realistically be back on the road, unlike other electric vehicles where you may have to stop for more than an hour. So the efficiency of Aptera really opens up a lot of possibilities for owners to use their vehicles in different ways than they currently do. We have a strong focus on composite technologies and AI generative design because it lowers the overall weight of the vehicle while making it one of the strongest offerings on the road today.
When you think about vehicle safety, you think about strength. Is this thing going to protect me?
Our composite monocoque chassis is built a lot like a Formula One vehicle and is very strong.
The structure surrounding you is going to be safer or stronger than virtually anything that's out there because the strength of the composites compared to steel, for example, is superior.
We take passenger safety very seriously, and it's one of our top priorities. The Aptera drastically lowers the materials needed to build your transportation device.
These bodies, instead of having 200 or 300 parts to the body, they have 4 parts to the main structure. And that makes it much easier to build, track, and assemble.
The electric vehicle world of today is much more advanced than it was 10 years ago. We're leveraging every bit of new battery technology, drivetrain technology, composite technology that's available to make things more efficient for your transportation needs. Aptera is actually Greek for wingless flight.
People look at it, they tap for you to roll down the window, and they want to ask you what it is.
Amazed and shocked when they see the Aptera.
It's not designed to get attention, it just gets attention because of what it is. You tell them how efficient it is, and it just blows their mind. The first thing that's going to strike you as different is the integration of the solar cells into the body and the dash and other places, every square inch of where sunlight hits that vehicle, in a way to harvest it and make use of it without making it look like some high school eco-marathon project.
When driving, the vehicle dynamics are very stable. The acceleration is brisk. The one notable thing is it's very, very quiet.
Before I drove the Aptera, I had dreams about driving it, and the first time I did, it was virtually as I imagined it would be.
Aerodynamics comes with the benefit of being a lot quieter. You don't hear the wind buffeting noise at high speeds like you would in any other vehicle available today.
The first feeling while driving it is the feeling of spaciousness, because you think it's just a normal sized vehicle, or maybe some people might even think that it's smaller on the inside or a cram. But it felt like a football field, that I had between my elbow and the door. And I just had all of this space, and it was comfortable.
The all-wheel drive Aptera handles great in snow, ice, or inclement conditions. We have torque vectoring to each wheel that dynamically responds within 1/30 seconds of a revolution. So we can infinitely tweak the stability of the vehicle at any time and tackle almost any adverse condition you can imagine.
And with all of this glass, I could see everything, and it was an amazing experience.
The Aptera service network will be unique in that most of the time we'll come to you to fix your problems. But if you have an Aptera in a remote location where service agents might not be, we will help you repair your vehicle on site. We'll ship you parts within 24 hours. We'll give you all the build and service information we have and really help facilitate you in keeping your vehicle on the road. We think this right to repair mindset can really help keep more Aptera on the road longer and make our customers happy. Hopefully my children will grow up in a world where they never have to put gasoline in a vehicle again. My son already knows how to put the charger into my electric vehicle. My daughter already knows what a battery is.
I think ensuring that electric vehicles aren't sort of a compliance move by the OEMs, or that they're not a thing that only rich people can afford with very expensive electric vehicles, but ensuring that there's a mainstream path to make electric vehicles there for everyone is the legacy that we'd like to leave to our kids, because that's the kind of world we want them to grow up in.
I would say we're an audacious group that is really tackling the problems of energy efficiency in transportation. There's nothing more unique than Aptera, a vehicle focused on efficiency solely over styling, and it's really the most efficient way to get from point A to point B.
We started Aptera to build the best electric car in the world.
I think a lot of people have latched onto Aptera because it's an amazing solution to a lot of today's energy use problems. And it's also just cool engineering. You're far less efficient on a bicycle than you are in an Aptera. So next time you think of bicycling down to your local grocery store, you might as well hop in the Aptera to make that same trip.
They say the best things come in small packages. But with Aptera, we like to think that the best option for an efficient electric vehicle comes in a package that's just the right size. We designed Aptera to be the optimized shape and dimensions for peak aerodynamics and low drag efficiency. But what dimensions are those exactly? Let's talk numbers. Each Aptera is 172 inches long, 88 inches wide, and 57 inches high. Now let's put that into context. And Aptera is about the same size as other leading energy-efficient vehicles. Yet Aptera's state-of-the-art battery and integrated solar panels can take it 4 times further than comparable electric vehicles with a similar battery size. Though Aptera has a completely unique design, it's perfectly sized for highway, back road, and city driving. Now let's talk about cargo space. Most comparatively sized vehicles have about 13 to 18 cubic feet of cargo space. Aptera has 25. That's enough space for an entire family's set of luggage, around 40 bags of groceries, or, to put it in very 2020 terms, 500 rolls of toilet paper. It's also definitely enough space for your pet or some camping gear, both of which inspired add-on features available for the Design Your Own Aptera. We'll go more into those in another video, but for now, you have an exact idea of the way Aptera will fit into your life.
Hey, just wanted to give everyone an update on our recent track testing. We had a great day out at the Verona drag strips, testing the Aptera for durability and speed and braking and all the fun things that make Aptera the kind of performance vehicle that you'll want to be in. The main goal of the day was really just to shake these alpha vehicles out to make sure that they're safe to drive on the roads around San Diego. We wanted to do aggressive braking, aggressive handling, and obviously some accelerations. We're still tuning our Lafe motors and the control systems that run them, so it was great to be out on the track to be able to get some live data and see how they perform under stress. We got some amazing initial results and even did some drag races. And we wanted to see how our lightweight vehicle handled in aggressive braking scenarios, and to be honest, the results were just amazing, as you'd expect from a very light aerodynamic vehicle that has tons of regenerative torque from the in-wheel motors. We also wanted to see how the Aptera would perform under aggressive handling situations, so we ran some basic moose test scenarios where we had some aggressive handling that proved that the Aptera is very well balanced, even though we're just at the beginning of our suspension development. The overall results of our first track day is that the Aptera Alpha units are performing spectacularly. Acceleration, braking, handling, we're all above expectations, and we can't wait to spend the next few months with our engineers and vendors to design beta units that are even better. One of the things that really excited me was the handling of the Aptera in this very early alpha stage. The stability is great under high-speed, stressful situations. The vehicle's very balanced and feels comfortable to drive, and we know that by adding a sway bar and tuning the suspension more, things are only going to get better. Our acceleration test went very well. The Aptera is brisk under acceleration, and it's pretty exciting to drive. We know that working with our partners in Slovenia at Lafe, the motor tuning will only get better, and we'll see acceleration times increase as we bring in our own battery technologies too.
Electric vehicles are very reliable, and Aptera is even more reliable with its simplified electric drivetrain, enhanced regenerative braking, and rust-free composite body. But any vehicle is bound to have issues now and then, and traditionally those service issues have been a nightmare to tackle, with difficult approvals, long waits, and a confusing process. But just like how Aptera is changing how we think about efficiency in transportation, we are also changing the way you should think about servicing your vehicle. So what happens when your Aptera needs service? For most customers, we'll come to you and fix any issue on the spot. Just request an appointment and we will schedule a time and place that works. In some cases, you may live too far away from where our service agents are located. When this happens, we take active part in helping you find a local repair shop and ship you any needed parts within 24 hours. And we make all our service and build information available to assist when needed. With this right-to-repair approach, we can service vehicles remotely, both while they're under warranty and long after. Aptera's vehicles are crafted to last a lifetime and more. We make them durable, straightforward to repair, and offer support and information when needed. We believe this will keep more Aptera on the road for far longer than any other vehicle available today. And that's great for the planet. Aptera is creating the world's most efficient transportation. We hope you like what we're doing and will want to learn more.
A lot of people have asked, how does Aptera get 40 miles per day just from the sun? Well, here's how. First, you have to have a child's version of a sun. The Aptera, I'm an engineer, I'm an artist. The solar panels on the Aptera produce about 700 watts peak power. Now, over the period of a day, it'll generate about 4,000 watt hours. But because the Aptera is so efficient, it only uses about 100 watt hours per mile. And crossing out the units, we're left with miles, and so you see the answer is 40 miles. Now, that's just solar range. Some Apteras can go up to 1,000 miles. But because the Aptera is so efficient, and because it only uses 100 watt hours per mile, its panels can provide enough energy, 4 kilowatt hours, to drive about 40 miles per day. So if you want to see how much free power you can get from your Aptera at your location, check out our solar calculator on our website at aptera.us.
Aptera was designed to be the most efficient solar electric vehicle on the planet. And with this in mind, we are always looking for ways to improve the design to keep the drag as low as possible. In older designs, Aptera mimicked aircraft radiator systems to keep the drag low. But that wasn't enough. Aptera found a way to eliminate the radiators completely. To dissipate heat, Aptera circulates coolant through biologically inspired channels throughout its skin. This allows the vehicle's exterior to serve as a radiator and also allows the cooling system to produce zero drag, without the extra weight, cost, and energy of fans. This is just one example of many that Aptera has changed the way we move from one location to the next in a more efficient and sustainable way. Reserve your Aptera today.
Hi Aptera fans, it's been a busy last 3 months for Aptera as we've been progressing our development efforts on our betas. Our betas are crucial in our ramp to production, and they really serve to integrate production parts into our first development vehicles. We'll progress that through Gamma and Delta and hopefully have a production vehicle ready by the end of the year.
One of the biggest changes in the Beta Series vehicles are the size. We've made it bigger, but we've also lowered the drag to make it more efficient. So there's no net increase in drag from the Alpha Series vehicles. We've increased the headroom, we've increased the side space near the hip, so it's going to feel more roomy inside and bigger and not have increased drag.
Through our alpha testing, we identified some opportunities to increase headroom and increase our battery packaging area. This caused us to increase our frontal area of the vehicle by about 1%. But through aerodynamic optimization, we were actually able to lower the total drag product of the vehicle.
We made it bigger because we wanted to accommodate a larger percentile of folks. We wanted really tall folks and big folks to be able to fit comfortably inside the headroom and in the headroom near the door.
During our track testing with the Alphas, we learned that we have a lot of opportunities to optimize our stability, our turning radius, and our maneuverability. We turned to Roush's engineering team to help us develop automotive quality components for our production efforts towards the end of this year.
Some of the changes in the suspension are things that we learned from the extensive testing at the track. We wanted to implement all of the improvements that we learned that we needed from Alpha into the Beta series, and Roush is helping us engineer that new suspension. They're making it even more stable and more manufacturable than it was before, helping us source OEM parts and etc. so that we can get to production that much quicker.
Roush is a leader in performance engineering, and they've really helped to streamline our suspension and production parts as we move forward. They're well known for their racing heritage and the amazing things they've done in high volume automotive. We're also working hard to optimize our body structure for ease of assembly and lightweightness. Roush has helped us with our door systems, which are typically a very difficult part of engineering for vehicle longevity. And we've seen some amazing enhancements in how the door functions, the window mechanisms, and how the door hinges.
Next, let's talk about the drivetrain. We've been working with the Lafe to improve the efficiency of their motors to make them more suited or dialed in for Aptera's use case. One of the improvements is even in the cable routing, and that allows us to use smaller cables and package them underneath in the aero covers that we don't have on the Alpha vehicles, but that you will see on the Beta.
This is important because we have both all-wheel and front-wheel drive systems, and they both need to work equally as well in every situation. The motors are also important aerodynamically for the Aptera. The way the cables are routed into the vehicle and how they attach to the suspension has aerodynamic impacts. Both the lower and upper A-arms need to be optimized to minimize drag throughout the vehicle. Hess Mechatronics has been helping us optimize our battery systems to make sure that we can produce them in volume and so that they're the most energy-dense package we can provide.
One of the biggest changes in our battery design that will first be seen in the Beta vehicles is our flex circuit BMS system. The flex circuit attaches to the cells in such a way that it allows them to be made up to 10 times faster than typical EV battery packs. So that means it lowers our manufacturing costs, and we'll be able to make battery packs for the vehicle much quicker than any of competitive technology out there.
Our alpha testing also showed us a lot about the ergonomics of the Aptera. We noticed that we needed to change the driver position a bit, as well as the steering wheel position, and increase headroom a bit to make the vehicle overall more comfortable.
All of these Beta improvements that we've been working on for the past year, things like suspension and increased headroom, better battery technology, more efficient motors, bring us one step closer to production. The vehicle design process here at Aptera has 4 main phases: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta. The Alpha vehicles that you've seen, such as the one behind me, have provided all the useful information for us that they're going to. And for months, we've been working to incorporate that in the Beta design. We've improved ergonomics in the Beta vehicles from a human factors standpoint. Everything from how you sit in it, how it feels, where your hands fall, the seat adjustment fore and aft, and headroom, all of those things have been radically improved from Alpha to Beta.
As we finish the engineering on our Beta development vehicles, we can't wait to start building them through the summer and share our progress with you. Stay tuned for updates.
Imagine never having to fuel your vehicle. With Aptera, you can go about your day while your vehicle charges itself up for free. It gets all the power it needs from the sun without ever having to plug in. We call it Never Charge, an integrated solar package providing over 40 free driving miles per day, making the Aptera the first vehicle that won't need to fuel up for most daily driving. It also gets a record-breaking 1,000 miles of range from its battery pack, taking you further than any other electric vehicle. How is this possible? Well, because of our advanced aerodynamics, lightweight parts, and an efficient electric drivetrain, we use less than 100 watt-hours per mile. This means our small solar package can still take you a long way. Never Charge is built into every Aptera, and it can produce enough free solar power to travel over 11,000 miles per year. At Aptera, we're building the world's most efficient transportation, freeing up your time, saving money, and doing something good for the planet.
You may notice Aptera looks a little different, and that's because it was inspired by science and nature, and in part validated by NASA in 2006. It looks this way because we designed this vehicle to be the most efficient one in the world. It has less drag than any other EV on the market, and that's what enables it to go up to 1,000 miles. Aptera has 3 wheels, and the motors are actually in the wheel. This gives us greater control and stability. Wheel motors are very durable. They've been tested in mud, snow, ice, sand, and they offer great longevity and long-term performance. This vehicle here, Soul, is a front-wheel drive vehicle. It has a motor in each of the front wheels, 2-wheel drive. It is fast enough to do 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. Our other vehicle, Alpha 1 Noir, is an all-wheel drive with a motor in every wheel, and it does 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. One of the interesting things about Aptera is that it's a solar electric vehicle. It has solar panels on the hood, the dash, the roof, and the rear, and it produces a peak power of about 700 watts. Over the period of a day, that's enough to drive people over 40 miles, I think 46 miles in some locations. That's one of the key differentiators of Aptera and versus a regular vehicle, electric vehicle. Another key differentiator in the Aptera solar electric vehicle is its composite body structure. It's lighter and stronger than steel and very durable. One of the things people ask about a lot is the interior. As you can see, it's actually quite roomy on the inside. Most people are not expecting that. They're expecting a small space, but this is quite comfortable and quite large. One of the changes that we're doing for beta is we're moving this whole section out about 50 millimeters, about 2 inches. And we're dropping the seat another inch, inch and a half, and the structure below it as well. So that's going to be easier to get in and out, but it's also going to give tall guys and gals a lot more headroom and a lot more comfort. This interior is coast, and it has the blue stitching to remind us of our California roots. The Aptera has a lot of cargo space. In production, there's a small flap that connects here in the seat and extends the floor, so when you're camping, you can really stretch out a long distance. There's also enough room to put your band equipment, groceries, or anything else for that matter, maybe a golden doodle. Another interesting feature in the Aptera is the energy tipster part of the UI, which lets you decide what things you want to turn on and off to increase your range. For example, I could turn off seat heating and go another 15 miles and you see the radius expand. You could turn off the fans and go another 10 miles, or full regen and go another 20 miles. Each time you can dynamically see how the vehicle's range increases. One more thing about the interior of the Aptera is the cooling system. It's not actually in the interior, but it's just below us in the belly pan. It's a radiator, but it's on the skin. So as air flows over the belly of the Aptera, it removes all of the heat, versus a regular radiator where the air flows through it. So it means it's lighter weight and lower drag and more efficient, which gives us more miles range. I hope you like this tour. There's more coming up ahead with the unveiling of our third vehicle, Luna, so please stay tuned.